Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be doing a little mini review of my Marantz 2050 tuner, which is part of my personal collection. Nowadays I especially like the the blue scale lighting and the blue meter lighting, which back in the day I didn't really like. I had friends that always showed me their Marantz equipment, and I always thought the blue color was a little bit cheesy. But now I've changed my mind. I was more like a Sansui guy back then and a Pioneer guy. So now this is part of my personal collection, as I said, since I do have a little collection, and I keep them. Normally what happens is I keep them for a while, then I go ahead and get rid of them, then I get something new until I find, I guess, the ultimate pieces of equipment. Now this is the Marantz 2050. It came out, as far as I could research, it came out in 1978 up to 1980, and I think that Marantz came out with a total of 6 tuners that year. With the most expensive was the 2130, and the least expensive was the 2020. And this tuner is actually the next one up from the 2020. This, of course, is a 2050. And it actually came out in 2 versions. One version, it also had long wave reception. Yeah, back in the day, people actually used to listen to long wave sometimes. I don't know about nowadays if there's still any transmitters nowadays. And as far as I know, this only came with the silver-faced version. As you can see here, I gotta turn the light back up here. Back in a second. So I needed to turn the light back up so I could go ahead and read what's on these buttons. Of course, it's got an analog dial scale. Now, I think the next model up, this here just has regular, like a knob tuning, but the next one up, it uses that gyro wheel turning, which you can move here with your thumb back and forth. It's flat, so if you like that, then you might have to get that model. Of course, the higher the model number, the more features it's going to have, the better is the performance, and the more it's going to cost you, even though it's used. So if you get these, of course, you have to look and see after that they're externally like in good shape and no scratches or something like that. Of course, you got your power button, your tuning knob, your analog scale, and also it actually has you can see it there. I don't know if you can see it came on there. It's I got to shut the light off again. Now you can see it better. Of course, it's got a stereo indicator light, and of course this is a FM and AM tuner. It's got a signal strength meter here, and it's got basically your center tuning meter, which here is like right on the money. Maximum signal here. Center tuning here is, let me see, yep, basically right on it. This is more like an eyesight problem here, and there's not too many features really. You got your AM button, your FM button, a muting button. The muting is when you're between stations, so you don't get all of that static and hiss. And it's got mono and stereo. So I've got the tuner hooked up to the aux input of a boombox, and of course I'm recording through this microphone or this camera, so really I can't do the sound of this tuner any justice. This is kind of falsified. I just turned this up for just a second, of course, and I can't let it run too long because of copyright issues. That's just kind of getting a glimmer of what this sounds like. I think it actually sounds pretty It actually sounds pretty decent. I actually ended up paying around $45 for this thing. As I said, it was strictly for my personal collection, and it didn't really have a single mar on it, which is, in my opinion, very important. So there's really not too much to the back of this. Of course, it has a fuse, and it's got your voltage selection. You can adjust between 110 and 220. And if you come over here to the right, it's got one of these stick or rod antennas. Earlier I had hooked this up here. This is a loop antenna. This does a little bit, at least in my opinion, it does a little bit better. And here I've got a 300 ohm dipole antenna, which is just basically one of these T antennas that you used to tack to the wall back in the day. Best would be better, for example, would be to get an indoor active antenna, or get an outdoor antenna. Of course, that would be better. This is like the basic minimum type of antenna you can use to get good reception. And of course, you can add an external AM antenna, like this thing here, that can be added to here. Now I'm just going to wrap this up, this little introduction here, I'm going to go ahead and open it up and show the inside just for a second. So now we're going to take a look at the inside here, and we see it's got a 3-gang tuning capacitor. It's got 1, 2, 3 different parts. And here, this is interesting. Basically, I looked this up here. This chip is AN7000, and this is basically almost a complete tuner on a chip. Other than that, there's nothing. Basically, of course, this is a power supply. There's nothing too much special to report here. Now the unit already has integrated jacks here. You can see here where my finger's pointing, it comes out of the unit. So all you do basically is plug these in.